Hi, Doug. This is Brian, and it's June 25th, 2016, and we're making this movie for you. We're out at the farm at McKinsey, and we're having a kind of a reunion, but also a memorial for Margaret. And so I'm going to visit with all the people that are here, and we'll talk a little bit. And my first partner here on a bench at the farmhouse is Shaban. How are you doing, Shaban?
Excellent.
Tell us, what have you been doing this summer, so that Doug would know a little bit about what you've been up to?
Well, I've been in the process of remodeling Mom and Dad's house and building a bobcat from the ground up.
What do you mean building a bobcat?
Well, I bought two, me and Dad bought two. I've been saving parts for years, and out of the two and all the parts, I managed to make one.
Wow.
In the process, we're also putting a new bridge in over our river, so that'll be quintessential in the bridge building and the house remodeling. And
I still can't believe you learned how to do all this stuff.
me either.
It's amazing. What happens next in your life?
Well, from here, we're going to go through Harvey, North Dakota, where my grandmother was born and raised. We don't know exactly where the house is. From her best knowledge, it's 4 miles west and 3 miles south of Harvey. And as the story goes from her, the farmer tried to tear the house down. It's a great big, huge fieldstone house. He tried to push it over with a tractor. He tried to pull it over with a bulldozer, and all those attempts failed. So he ended up farming around it. So we're told.
Have you seen this place before?
I have seen a very, very old picture.
Pictures, but you've never. This will be your first time.
This will be my first time. So,
So
we're looking for a big rock house with a field
Wow.
around it.
Thank you, Shaban.
No problem.
That was Shaban Blanc. Doug, thanks. Doug, my next partner here on the bench is somebody you know very well. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Brian.
Tell me something. How do you feel about this day, the whole day? What does it mean and everything? Being out here.
Well, Dad, the first thing is we appreciate wind, natural air conditioning. It's a gorgeous sunny day, totally blue sky. And maybe Jared will give you a shot of some of the surroundings. So it reminds us of all those great long summers when you get up early and you just be able to do whatever it was going on, whether it was having fun or working or hunting. And the day itself was bright and sunny, and the aromas. We went over to the creek today, Dad, where Mom used to like to look at the crocuses. The sage was there. The wildflowers are in pretty good shape. And then Kathleen was reminding me about how Grandpa Bliss used to pay us, those life lessons, Dad, if you remember, to hold the trees. Those trees are like 30 feet high now. None of the evergreens seem to have survived. But we were chuckling about how Grandpa would take us out early after feeding us his pancakes, and then he would sit in his old 1950 green Ford to, quote, supervise while the young grandchildren learned some life lessons about hard work and hoeing trees. So today is pretty neat, Dad. One other quick thing, Dad. If you remember what we used to call, I think it was the Little Lake, brings back duck hunting memories. So we're over on kind of the northwest corner looking over the creek, and Katie had not seen Apple Creek. She's heard about it, but we could chuckle with her about how as young kids, that's where we learned to ice skate, and when we duck hunted, that's where we were over there down in the creek bottoms. And I remember we were always sort of fascinated, probably not an accurate remembering, Dad, but it seemed like we always ended up by Little Lake to hunt ducks, and I don't remember ever shooting any ducks over there, Dad. It seemed like that was just a good excuse to walk the kids and get us tired out before we started to nag, is my thought. And then I remember another thing over there, closer to the big hill, it seems to me, you and Uncle Bill tangled with a skunk, and the car was stuck, and so you had to ride back on something to the house. But it's amazing how this place brings back those memories. Probably we were hunting, but you got dosed with a skunk, and everybody had you outside washing down with tomato juice. And I'm sure that had to have been in the fall. However, Dad, what I remember now, since Brian's reminded us of today's weather, it was bright and sunny, a beautiful day, and of course then Mr. Skunk got involved in the story.
And that's just a reminder, if you get sprayed by a skunk, bathe in tomato juice.
One of the things we missed growing up.
Yes, I've never had that experience. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
Hello again, Doug. We had to move our location since the wind was so strong. It was affecting the sound. And my partner now is somebody you know, Sarah Polachek. How are you doing, Sarah?
Good.
This has been a really nice day here, isn't it?
Yes,
What do you
very
think of this
nice.
day?
Very nice. Lots of food. Very good company.
Yes. And you've lived on this place all your life. And as you look out here, we are in the, by the way, Doug, we are in the shop. So behind us there's a Ford tractor and there's lawnmowers and all this. And tell us some memories you got about this place here, Sarah.
Well, we used to run and play out here, and we would, in the summer, we would make lemonade in canning jars and
Ooh.
sandwiches and take it out to the field to Grandpa.
Ah.
So I remember that. And otherwise, we would just run and play and try to think up things to do, look for cats, look for kittens.
And I don't think this shop was here when you were really small, was it?
No.
And I love the smell in this shop. It has kind of a oil and gas and dust. You agreed you kind of
Yes,
like
I
this.
do like that smell.
Like this smell. Hello again, Doug. Here we are. We're still in the shop with the beautiful background of the Ford tractor and machines. And I was noticing how I like this smell last time, that gas and grease and oil and dust. And my partner now is Kathleen Blanc, who you know very well. So how are you doing today, Kathleen?
I'm good. This is
What are some observations you have about today and what we're doing? And
well, this weekend has really been amazing. I mean, we're looking out at this old cottonwood tree that has these amazing, magnificent canopy branches, and I just remembered, Uncle Doug, also when we grew up in an attic at our farm, and there was a cottonwood right outside our bedroom window, and we used to love that sound of the cottonwood leaves rattling.
mm-hmm.
And there's lots of things about being at the farm this weekend that just sort of trigger a memory, just or a feeling in my body. You know, a smell like the clover, and the trees, and it's just been wonderful. One of the things that I really wanted to experience was the cousins, all the different generations of cousins encountering each other. And so I really wanted to see those three little Lucas and Celia and Inca together, and then like Shaban's generation with Callie and Callie and Taryn and all Wade. They haven't, a lot of those kids, that generation hadn't even met each other, and so just to see them all together, and it's just been great. I mean, I've already experienced what I came here for. I've had such lovely moments with people, and so yeah.
She's saying that she's getting her money's worth, and
Yeah.
and we all wish you were here, and we're
Yeah.
hoping you'll get healed up real nice. And but we're sitting in the garage, and it's like a theater opening here on this beautiful, all these trees, and as Kathleen said, cottonwoods have a certain sound.
Right.
I suppose every tree really does,
Yeah.
but that cottonwood is a very specific sound.
Start.
Hello again, Doug. My partner right now is Katie Qualley, who is with us for our reunion this weekend, and she's a friend of Shaban Blanc's, right? And where are you from, Katie?
I'm from Bemidji, Minnesota, and I grew up on a farm much like this,
Really?
but not the same scale, not as big.
Was that in that area?
Yep, right in Bemidji, yep.
Okay.
And my family actually were homesteaders as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And is there somebody on the farm now?
Yep, my dad still lives there.
Oh, okay.
So,
Is he farming it, or is he renting it out?
nope, he's still farming. He has about 35 head of cattle, and he puts up hay. And
Now, did you notice, Katie, that in order to get out of all the noisy wind, we're in the shop.
Yes.
This is the kind of place you would be very familiar with.
Yep.
There's a Ford tractor and all
Yep.
sorts of things around here. Any thoughts about a shop like this?
Well, this shop is great. This is the heart of the farm, I would say.
Ah, okay. And keeping these machines running
Yeah.
and things like that. So what do you do on a normal day in Bemidji?
On a normal day in Bemidji, I work at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hear you're becoming the new manager or something.
I'm a manager at the grocery store. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's during my work day. But the rest of the day, I guess.
How did you and Shaban meet? We've
Uh,
known each other for quite
How
a
did
while.
we meet? We
Yeah.
actually, Shaban and Scott have a 1941 Dodge 1.5 ton dump truck
Wow.
that they were trying to get. They bought it actually from my uncle, unbeknownst to me, and they were trying to get that running. And I started spending time with Shaban, and
And they're the kind of they would know how to get it.
Yeah.
to run.
Oh,
And
yeah,
this
they
was
got
a
it
thing
running.
that hadn't been running for a long
no,
time.
no,
Were they successful?
they were successful.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you,
So,
Katie, for
thank
talking
you.
with us. Thanks for being part of our
Thank
party.
you. Thanks for having me here.
All right. Hello again, Doug. My partner here right now is somebody you know very well, Justin Polachek, who lives in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. And he's here for our family reunion this weekend. What are some of the things you've been doing and seeing and thinking about this weekend, Justin?
Well, hey Doug, can't wait to see you here. Hope everything's going well. We got here on Friday afternoon, and right now we just got done. We were cutting some logs, some trees out in front of the house, so we've been doing a little bit of that.
Yes, there's a lot of work going on. Cutting, Shaban and Scott and Justin were cutting down dead trees, and Justin has been driving what is that tractor that you're
It's
driving?
the loader tractor. It's a John Deere 4020, so that's the one that Grandpa had, and I know you know that tractor as well.
Yes, and you can see we're in the world's most beautiful shop here, Doug. And a while ago we were looking at the little house where you and Margaret lived, I think right after World War II. And Justin has some projects that he's thinking about. What are you planning to do with that house?
Yeah, well, we definitely are trying to keep it up as much as we can, so we mowed around it. And each year I've been putting on some extra shingles, and amazingly it stays pretty dry inside. We've got some different things that are in there, but it's one of those buildings that it's amazing that it stays as dry as it does.
And I like thinking about how you lived in that house with Margaret, and we never had a conversation about how long you were there or how you felt about that space, because it seems so small. But how do you feel about that house, Justin? What do you
Yeah,
think?
well, I remember when we were little, it was always fun to go in there because it was more for storage at that point, but we would go in there and kind of make it because it still looked like a little bit of a house. And they had one of those old record players in there that actually worked, so it was very cool to go in there, when we're 10 years old or whatever, and go in and throw on a record because it was there, and we were in a little house.
What do you call those?
The crank,
the
some kind
crank
of the
record
crank
player,
record
and then
players.
with a needle on it and play that.
Yes.
So, what are your one final thought about the weekend, Justin?
Well,
what we've been experiencing.
It's been awesome to have a little reunion like this, and so it's been fun. The weather's been perfect, and so very informal though, which has been really fun. We're just doing lots of eating and projects here and there and talking, so it's been a really fun weekend.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes, thank you.
My partner now is Celia Polachek, and you know her, Doug, one of my grandchildren. And Celia is here for the big reunion this weekend at the farm by McKinsey. And one of her projects has been to go over to David and Kathy's house. And what's over there that's fun for you?
So, first of all, they have lots of chickens, and I love animals, so that's fun for me. But also, there's 2 dogs. One is Luna, and the other is Trina. Luna is, I'd say, like 6 or 9 or something, and she's an older dog and has like white on like her face and stuff. And Trina is really young. She's about 2 years old. She gets super excited, and I've actually been training them, and I got a dog training book, and
What are
some
some
dog
of your
treats.
techniques you use for training?
I use sit,
Jump.
well, jump actually turned out to be sit pretty
Oh.
from my book.
Oh.
And
She's reading a book about training your dog, so she's learning some real tricks. Yes. And do you give them a treat usually?
But now that I've ran out of my dog treats, I just have to pretend that it's there, and then I just praise them afterwards.
Right. They're very friendly dogs. David and Kathy had to go to Montana this weekend, so they couldn't be with us. So we're invading their nice house and taking over, and then we gather the eggs.
So far, we've been we've been getting like 20 total every day. But today, so far, we have only had 3.
3 eggs today. So between the chickens, and the 2 dogs, Celia has been having a great time. Thank you, Celia. Hello again, Doug. I am with somebody you know very, very, very well. This is Marcia McDowell, and we're in the shop again because it's so loud and noisy out there because of the wind in the cottonwood trees. But I know we thought you'd love this building with the tractors and all sorts of stuff. But so Marcia, you've been here a few times, and can you give us a little feeling about your memories of this place and what you've experienced on the farm here?
What I remember was I've only been to Grandma and Grandpa Bliss's house a couple of times. And what I remember the first time we came to visit, we went in the back door, and because Grandma was in the kitchen, and I was introduced to her, and I said, well, can I help with something? And she immediately put her arm around me and said, well, yes, and brought me over to the counter, and we started making dinner. And then the next time I came, I think I met Grandma in the backyard, and we just sat out and had lemonade in the backyard for a few minutes before Paul and I moved to the West Coast. And so we hadn't been back. The only other times I've been back here was, I guess, here in this building was when Roger was working. When it was cold out, I remember it was chilly, and Roger was working on one of the machines.
Who knows what, right?
One of the machines that didn't work.
Yes, yes.
That he was building parts for and trying to fix.
Yes.
And then a few times, I guess when Roger died, and we were back to his house, to the newer house. And then the last time was when we came back to help move Margaret and Doug to Minneapolis. And Donna had planned a beautiful luncheon, which was so sweet of her. She had arranged and figured out what everybody was doing, and had us, after we'd done all of the packing and got everything ready to go, we came here to Uncle Roger's and I think she was living there at the time.
Yes.
Okay. And had a lovely, she called it a tea, but it was kind of a luncheon.
Yes, yes.
It was just charming. And then and Margaret had been kind of traumatized, I think, by the move, because there was so many memories that were coming, and there was so much work to do, and it was upsetting to her. She was nervous about it, and it was such a nice way for her to feel that she was leaving, because she talked about memories, about fun times that we'd had, that she'd had when she was here, so that by the time we left and drove to Minneapolis, she was actually pretty calm, and she was actually pretty comfortable.
Thank you, Marcia,
You're
for
welcome.
telling us that story.
You're welcome.
I have with me now in the shop Jana Palechkova, who is from the Czech Republic, and she's married to Jeremiah, who you know. So hello, Yana. And Yana and Jeremiah have been living out here at the farm, and they're going to be here for a while. Tell us, how do you feel about living at the farm? What does that feel like? Are you used to living in the country?
No, I never lived like isolated. So
You're a city person, right?
yeah, I am.
And
I'm
what
a
what
person.
city are you from?
Prague.
Prague. She's from Prague. And so what is it like being isolated like this out in the country?
Nice and kind of just scared at night, but
Scared at night,
yeah.
like storms?
Yeah.
Or just
dark.
just
the
being out
dark
here,
and-
just being out here.
Yeah.
You did have a storm the other night, though, didn't you? With
Yeah.
thunder
Mm-hmm.
and lightning. Was that scary?
That's nice.
Now, Doug, they've been living this summer in Lorena and Percy's house. So they put pictures on the wall and fixed it up very nice. So you're living it. You really fixed that house up really nice. Yes.
Thank you. I tried my best.
You tried your best. Yes, yes. And they also painted the deck and the deck at the farmhouse, right?
Yeah.
That was a big job. Tell us about that job.
It was.
How many days had you get there?
It was like 2 afternoons.
2 afternoons,
Yeah.
right? Do you like doing that kind of
Yeah, I
thing?
like it.
You
I
like
it.
doing that?
Yeah.
Now, Yana is an artist also, and so are you doing some paintings here?
I think my time will start
Mhm.
next week, and this is just a vacation
Yes.
time, and I tried, but it's just no time. And
Right. Well, of course, you've been getting ready for this big reunion, making food and fixing things up and painting. So now when that's
Yeah.
over, you can get down to doing some painting.
Yeah, I'm planning it. I will do it.
Thank you, Yana. This is Jeremiah Polachek,
Hello.
and he's been our cameraman as we're making this movie. Tell us about this summer and what your plan is in your project out here.
Well, we've been living in the old house, and I'm here with my wife and my 4-year-old daughter, Inca, and we're just in there painting and kind of taking a summer off because I teach in Prague during the year, so we're taking the summer off and just living here.
What does it feel like living on this place that you knew so well as a child, but you haven't been here for a long time?
It's nice to be back.
Yeah.
It seems very open since I'm in a city more, so when the thunderstorms come in, they seem pretty loud, and you seem very little in your tiny little house on the prairie, but it's nice.
Now,
Let's do that.
are you planning to do some paintings this summer, or what?
Yes, I'll be continuing to make paintings. I made a little studio in the house, and Yana is painting in there also, so basically that's what we do.
So you'll have to see some of their pieces, Doug, when they're finished, both Yana and Jer, and they have this very cute little child, our granddaughter Inca, who I hope you'll get to see on this movie. So, give us a thought about the whole weekend that we've been having here.
Oh, it's been great to meet a lot of different people that I hadn't been in touch with for a long time, and have everyone together in one place. It's
Yeah.
cool.
And we had a lot of food. And
There's a lot of food.
Yana and Jer were in charge for our lunch today. It was great. Thank you very much. Hello again. My partner right now is Taryn, who you know very well also, Doug. And we're in the shop with the tractors and all these kind of stuff. What are some of your thoughts about our weekend reunion here, Taryn?
It's been really nice. I came out here when I would stay with my grandparents, Doug and Margaret, when I was little. And we would come out and I would play with your kids. They taught me how to play poker over there.
It's
I
an
think.
important game.
It
you
is.
know.
Yep.
Yes.
But I haven't been back to do a big tour of the farm since I was like a teenager. So it was really fun to
Is there
see.
anything that seems to have changed very much at the farm?
Yeah, it's older.
Like the buildings?
I mean, I don't remember them very well because I was pretty young.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember the farmhouse, not Roger's house, but the old farmhouse being like a different color, but it could just be because I was little. But it's been fun to see everybody. Yeah.
And Doug, you would notice the barn is really falling down, but it would be nice to save it, but it costs a lot of money actually. So what are some of your plans for the rest of the summer?
So this summer, I finished all of my 9 years of medical training, and so Wade and I are going to go on a long trip. We're visiting all the family here. We're going to see Dad on Tuesday. We're going to see Wade's family tomorrow. And then visit med school friends and other friends kind of from Portland, Oregon, all the way to Iceland and Prague.
You're going to Prague?
Yeah.
And Iceland, wow.
Yeah.
Now when you say you finished the medical, you finished what? It's called school?
Yeah, so I did medical school for 4 years, and then residency for 3 years, and then fellowship for 2 years. And so I'm an integrative family medicine doctor.
And so you are officially now what?
Family medicine doctor.
Family medicine doctor,
Yeah.
and you're taking this nice big trip, and then when you come back home, you will.
I'll just work as a family doctor.
She'll be actually working, doing her job,
A
like
normal
everybody
job.
said. Thank you.
Thank you.
My partner right now in the shop, our beautiful shop with the tractors and things, is Callie, who you know very well also. How you doing, Callie?
I'm good.
Tell us about this weekend and what you're thinking about and feeling and seeing and all sorts of stuff.
It's been really interesting to see it as an adult because I think that's the biggest thing is I feel like there's a lot of things that were in, that I saw as a kid, but it was all kind of nebulous. And this is the first time that I feel like I have more of a consciousness of how everyone's related and who's lived here and what the history is, and so that's I think the shift for me because I left home when I was 19 and then didn't see a lot of you guys for a lot of years and then came back. So yeah, it's just been more kind of letting it sink in that this is a part of the family history.
Right, and you're seeing it as an adult,
Yeah.
and not new adult.
Yeah.
So what does
Yeah.
an adult see that might be different from a child?
I think the way that it's all related, just comprehend, like being able to imagine myself as an adult, in their shoes as they were growing up, as they were living here. What would it be like to live here and have children here, or not that I have children, but you know what I mean? Just, I think there's a lot of things that seem totally unrelatable as a kid. It's just like the thing your grandpa did.
Right.
Versus now you can kind of personalize a little more and realize it just is a richer sense of understanding.
Yeah. Did you see the little house where Doug
Yeah,
and
the
Margaret?
two-room?
They Callie had a chance to see the little house where you and Margaret lived right after you came home, I think, from World War II.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that house and seeing it today?
I had no idea. First of all, I had no idea that they lived there, and I had no idea that Dad lived there with them when he was little. I was making the joke that I was like, it makes my studio in both my studio in New York and my studio here look generous in size. But yeah, I guess again, just kind of the homesteader. Like, there's so much homesteading and there's so much tactical ability in our history, our family history.
Right.
And it makes me want to know how to build things.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm like, I really want to learn some more tactical skills.
What a skill,
Yeah.
like Shaban and Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Tell us some plan you've got for the rest of the summer. Some adventures that you're doing right now.
I get to kind of like cultivate a little more this summer. I did a lot of study and development over the winter. My schedule was pretty restricted because I had it so scheduled out. And so I'm moving into a new home in Minneapolis in 2 weeks. And I don't have anything. I've got one creative project that I'm working on through the rest of the summer. But I'm excited to just kind of have July to, I've got the day job and then get this creative project. I can work on it as I have time, but just have a little more flexibility and enjoy summer, really. Yeah.
And this is a beautiful summer day.
This is
isn't
gorgeous.
it?
This is a nice kickoff.
Beautiful blue sky and cool and breezy.
I know, we got lucky. It was really lucky, yeah, because it was hot yesterday. So.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello again, we're in the garage with Scott Blanc, and you know him very well, Doug. So how are you doing, Scott?
We're doing good. This has been a really good weekend.
Talk about the weekend, things you're noticing or liking to do or whatever.
It's been really nice to be back at the farm. It's been really nice to be back in North Dakota. The smells and the wind and the sun remind me of growing up here, and actually walking around, driving around on the land, walking on the land. We just cut down 3 or 4 trees and cleaned them up next door. All that stuff of working out in the sun with a nice breeze has really brought back a lot of memories from my childhood.
And when you're in a garage or a shop like this, what thoughts do you have?
So we actually used this shop today to overhaul the problem. We welded the frame on the go-kart. We figured out what's wrong with the clutch. We welded the shafts together, and we got everything so in the future everybody will be able to be safe and zippy.
I should point out that Justin, bought a go-kart for his kids, Celia and Lucas, but there were some problems. What are the problems with that?
So it's an older machine, and it's
uh-huh.
got a centrifugal clutch on it, just like almost like what you see on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
And there's 3 dogs, and one of the 3 dogs actually doesn't work. The spring is busted, and so it's always engaged. And what'll happen, you go faster and faster, and all of a sudden you can't stop. So you have to push on the brakes and get the motor to slow down so that you can get it back under control. So that's what we're working on.
Here's a personal question for you. When did in your life, did you start with this fixing things and machines and understanding? How did that get started?
My first actual blood brother, where we cut our fingers and put them together.
Yes.
So he was Navajo, and his father called us birds. He always said, "Hey, you birds, get to work over here." And he taught me how to use tools. Because my own father didn't really do that. My uncles did. They were farmers, but not my own father. And so our next door neighbor, Mr. Williams, taught me how to do woodworking, taught me how to do fix it, and even let us watch all the welding and everything else.
Wow.
So I was probably in 6th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and basically he made it a point to bring all the neighborhood kids together and teach them stuff.
Wow. And you were interested in it?
Yeah, I was. He was a mechanic. He was a mechanic over at the refinery in Mandan. And so he worked for American Oil, and he fixed all their stuff, and he thought it was really important that we learned how to fix stuff, so if anything didn't work out in our lives, we could at least make ourselves useful.
And what's a major summer project you're involved with right now?
So Sheldon and I are unfortunately working on 3 summer projects at once.
3 summer projects.
What we're in the 2nd phase of a 3-phase project to stretch the wall out on the south side of our house 5 feet, add a 4-foot deck, basically enclose it as a 4-season porch, and put a cantilevered beam roof system over the existing roof system. It's going to be what they call a flying buttress, so it'll be cantilevered beam, it'll be anchored on the backside, it'll be freestanding. We're going to take and put upside down trusses in there to the old roof and the old ceiling system. Then we're going to take the wall off, and we won't have to have a beam. The roof itself will hold up the existing roof, the old roof, and the entire support system for the whole building.
Wow.
It's really cool. It's really a cool project. Then after that,
there's another one. Yes.
After that, then we're going to try to we have 2 bridges across Balsam Creek. And Doug, you know about Balsam Creek. We used to drive right over it every day. And so basically we're going to add a 3rd bridge. We had an old creosote bridge that was leaking creosote into the river. Balsam Creek comes through there and it goes into Lake Bemidji. And what we did is we tore all those old leaky timbers out of there. The EPA showed up, actual EPA inspector, and about 6 other dignitaries from the county and from the township and everybody, and they certified that, yep, we're going to let you build a concrete abutment system and put a new 12-foot wide steel bridge so we can drive our skidsters back and forth over this bridge and our dump trucks.
Was that your 2nd project or 3rd?
That's our 2nd project.
And the 3rd?
The 3rd project is a little more important. We're trying to get so that we can actually turn our big building into a bed and breakfast.
Ooh.
So but that's been we've worked on that for 9 years now, so we've got a lot of work to do. But I got to keep that moving. We sprung a leak last winter and had about 1,000 gallons of water leak down.
Ooh, no.
So we have to deal with a little bit of the cleanup and a little bit of the repair and a little bit of moving forward.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Hello, Inca.
Hello.
How are you today?
I don't know.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
Yes. Today, Doug, this is Inca, and she is Jeremiah and Yana's daughter and my granddaughter. Did you play with the dogs?
Yeah, no.
No, you didn't play with the dogs today?
Yes.
Did you play with the chickens? Slepichki.
Yes, and dogs.
And dogs. Did you gather some eggs too? Did you get the eggs?
Yes, and one.
There was just one egg?
Yeah.
You had an egg?
And why?
Oh, why?
Yes.
I don't know. And what have you been playing? Did you ride in the go-kart?
Zapsinohin.
Did you play in the go-kart?
What?
Did you play on the go-kart?
Yes.
Was that fun? Did you drive it?
Yes.
Did you eat lots of food?
No.
You didn't eat lots of food. I think your mommy and daddy made lots of good food.
Yes.
There was potato salad.
Nope.
Yes. I like your beautiful dress. Could, and, okay, thank you, Inca. That was great. Thank you. Дякую. So, I have with me here Lucas Polacek, who lives in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, right? And you've been here at the farm for the weekend. What are some things you've been doing out here that are fun?
Getting the go-kart for trying to find what needs to be done with the clutch on.
You know, when Scott was here, don't touch that because that's the microphone. When Scott was here, he was explaining about the clutch. Do you understand what's the problem with the clutch?
It's that, so we need a kind of screw
Yeah.
that is not, we don't know what it is.
Oh.
So we have to get a new clutch.
But it was working, was it? I thought I saw you going there.
Well, it was working, but like once you press the brakes and let go, when you let go like of the brakes, it would just go zooming off.
Oh, it would just go
So,
zooming
like,
off.
If you like got out when you were pressing the brakes and took it off, it would just zoom away and run into a tree or
Well,
a
we don't want
car.
that. Run into a tree.
Or a car.
A car.
Or run over 3 cars.
Three car. That would be terrible. Now you were. Your dad, Justin, was driving the great big tractor, and I saw you and your sister Celia and little Inca on the tractor with Justin.
Yes, like Inca right now is on the tractor right beside us.
Right. Yes, and the shop.
And if she twists the key and presses the button and pulls it to the side, she'll turn it on.
We don't want that to happen.
No, we don't.
No, that would be
It'll
terrible.
break the camera and that thing, and she'll go zooming off, not knowing what to do.
No, that is exact. How do you like this shop? It's
Kinda.
full of stuff, isn't it? There's bikes and
There's
lawnmowers.
an old-fashioned telephone back there.
There's an old-fashioned telephone? Yes. Also, there's a saw. There are tractors. This is just a perfect place if you like machines and to fix things, right?
And sprockets.
Sprockets. Yeah, you know what a sprocket is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lucas. That was a good fun.
Hi, Uncle Doug. This is Bonnie. Well, you have just heard a lot of voices. Some from folks here for the first time ever. Others for the first time as adults. Some of us are just visiting. Others plan to stay a while or as long as we can. 2016 happens to be the 100th anniversary of Bliss stewardship of this land. Not a long time in the scheme of things we know, but an important 100 years for us. We each brought our own memories and life experiences with us to this richly beautiful space of prairie. The wind in the cottonwoods, a backdrop for many of the interviews, provoked a broad range of reflections. For the youngest among us, those sounds provided a soundtrack for their own memory making. We extend our love and gratitude to you for the many contributions you and Margaret have made to this place and to our lives. We feel your presence and send you warm greetings filled with hopes for healing and time together in the future. Please take care. We will see you soon.
Doug, here's a poem that Grandma Rogers wrote for Margaret for her birthday, February 14th, 1924. I think Margaret would have been 3 at the time. And I don't know if you've ever read this poem or seen it, but here it is, and it's going to be read by Taryn and Callie in 2 different sections. And we'll make sure that you get a copy of the poem later.
It's called For Margaret. Say, have you seen a sweet little dear little girl, darting like a sunbeam here and there? She sure keeps everything in a whirl, going from piano to under table and chair. Full of fun and mischief are the sparkling blue eyes. Nothing escapes them, you can depend on that. So look around the barn. It would not surprise to find her out there with her dolly and cat.
If you find her, will you please let us know? To lose her would certainly break our heart, because we love her so. She is daring, so venturesome and smart. If you see a little tot that is chubby and fat, with a bright little tight little twisted curl hanging down in her eyes, you will know her by that. And even her fine teeth that looked like pearl. Hurry and find her. Look everywhere, please. For she is real little, pretty little Valentine girl. And her name, can you guess it? Margaret Louise. February 14th, 1924.